Hi everybody. So I named this video oil drain and not oil change because I'm actually just gonna drain some oil out. The dealership overfilled it a little bit. So in the owner's manual it says you have to check the oil when the bike's regular operating temperature. So at that temperature the oil is a little bit above the top line, which is overfilled. Now when the bike cools off, and like if I check it right now, it has to be sitting straight, so you got to tilt it over this way from the center stand. And if I do that right now when it's cold, it's below the line. I guess the oil expands a little bit or something, but yeah, when it's at operating temperature, it's a little overfilled. So I'm going to drain that out. And the procedure for changing the oil is going to be close to the same. I'm going to pull one of the drain plugs. It has two drain plugs. I'll show you guys the process here. And I actually tried to do it how I do it on my Goldwing whenever I do overfill it a little bit. I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to motorcycles. I want to have the perfect amount. Even if it's a little bit overfilled, I'll siphon it out usually. And I have a syringe with a hose, and I try to put it in the fill plug there, but it wouldn't go in there. So it's not like a Goldwing in that way, because you can't siphon it out. So you actually have to drain it out, unless there's a hose somewhere that I don't know of, but I don't think there is, that you can unplug. I really don't think there is one. The first thing we have to do is take off this cover. So we don't touch these three, we touch the rear two bolts. And by touch I mean take them off. Gonna loosen them. And then there's a little like hose right here that you gotta pop off also. It just pops out like that. Then there's 4 screws here. These are all 8mm, and those are also 8mm. So I'm gonna do that. Unless there's something on the other side, which I don't think. From here on it's pretty straightforward. So you got the cover off. It's a good chance to inspect your bike, make sure everything is good. And what you would do, so what I'm gonna do in 500 miles when I change the oil, is take out those 13mm plugs, drain that oil, take those out. I believe those are 8mm, and the oil filter is in there. There's 2 screens in there that you can either clean or replace. And just put all that back and then fill the bike. It takes 3 quarts. It takes its special oil. It's KTM recommended, which I think when they do that, when they recommend an oil, it's actually because they have some kind of a contract with that oil, that particular oil. Maybe they get a kickback, but it's okay. Just use what's recommended. That's better safe than sorry. And now it's pretty perfect. Okay, so that's me holding the bike straight, level, and it's right in the middle. Even if I lean it a little bit more this way, it's still under the top, so that's good. So don't make the mistake of checking the oil when the bike is cold, because it's going to give you an inaccurate reading. Right now when it was cold, it was like right at that bottom line there, and it's supposed to be above it, but when it warmed up, it got right to the middle where it's supposed to be. and the instructions, the manual says to check it when it's warm. One thing is, you want to put those, whenever you put this back, you want to put those in first. The rear bolts in first, and then those four. Otherwise it will not want to line up. I adjusted the handlebars. Now it feels just 1,000 times better for me. You have the ability to move them actually forward and back, and right now they're in the middle. I didn't do that adjustment. I just moved them up, and I just made it a lot better for me. Alright guys, the ergonomics of this bike are unlike any other bike. Seriously. Just the way everything is laid out, there's nothing overwhelming. There's one button here, and there's 4 here. You got the turn signals. So you got the 4 buttons here that control the computer. You got the cruise control right here, which you actually have to pay the dealer to activate it. You have the button, but you don't have it activated in the system. So I'm gonna have to go back to the dealer and pay them like $500 to activate all the functions, the quick shifter and all that. Check out the high beams. This is awesome. This is like a trigger for a gun. That's how you flash them. So you're riding, you can kind of flash your high beam just like that. It's a trigger, and then to turn them on, you push them outwards. It's just a great design. This button, it could be a little shorter in more, because you kind of have to reach for it to press it. The horn could be a little bit bigger, but you know, I just got big hands. That could be the issue. I moved the steering wheel up, like I said. I twisted it that way. It just feels I could ride this for hours longer now. But yeah, every day this bike becomes more and more comfortable for me. I do little changes to the suspension. I lowered the lights because they were a little too high up. I lowered those. Did the steering. This thing just feels better and better every day. Freaking love it. The LED headlight on this thing is just amazing. It just